Hey, fifth grade friends, Mrs. Shaver here. I want you to find the worksheet in front of you and make sure you're on the same side as me. It says independent and dependent clauses. Once you have that side, let's go ahead and put our names at the top. And please put your room number. So your room number is 12 if you're in Mrs. Munoz and 13 if you're in Mr. Hernandez. Okay, this side of the page is a review. It's reviewing our independent and dependent clauses. So remember that we have an independent clause is a phrase that can stand on its own, like it makes sense, it's a complete sentence. And our dependent clause cannot stand on its own. So go ahead and draw our little people above those words. We are going to do this, but we're going to do it a little differently. Instead of drawing a picture of the person, we're going to kind of use colors. So for my independent clause, I'm going to highlight any independent clause in yellow. You do not have to use the same colors. And then I'm going to highlight any dependent clause in orange. So again, you can use different colors than me, but you just need to choose two colors, either in a crayon or a highlighter. And this is a review. We're going to go through and look for sentences and try to code them, whether they're independent or dependent. So looking at this first one, if a hurricane was coming, George wanted to be prepared. Now I love these ones because it has a comma there to separate them, so I know that I'm looking at this side and this side. So if a hurricane was coming, that sounds like it's incomplete. George wanted to be prepared, that sounds like it could stand on its own and be complete. So my dependent clause is this one, if a hurricane was coming. And my independent clause is this, George wanted to be prepared. That makes sense. Okay, this next one is a little trickier because it doesn't have a comma. He made a list of the things he needed before he went to the store. So what I want to look for is I want to look for the conjunction. So the conjunction is before, which I'm noticing right here. Here's my conjunction before. And that helps me to know where to separate the sentence. So I'm going to look at this part, and then I'm going to look at this part. He made a list of the things he needed. That makes sense. Before he went to the store. That does not make sense. So this is my clause or dependent clause that cannot stand on its own. And this is my independent clause. Let's go to the next one. Ooh, yay, a comma. Although his faucets were working, George bought bottles of water. So this one makes sense on its own. George bought bottles of water. This one kind of sounds like it needs something. Although his faucets were working. And again, you can see that at the beginning of that sentence, we have that conjunction. Okay, and this sentence, the conjunction was right here, if. Let's look at this one. He also bought dry and canned food, though he had fresh food at home. Ooh, okay, let's see. Let's see, though, that's my conjunction, though. Might help you to have your list out from your notes. He also bought dry and canned foods, though he had fresh food at home. So I think this is the standalone. He also bought dry and canned food. This is the one that can't stand alone, though he had fresh food at home. I'm noticing a pattern. I don't know if you're noticing the same pattern. I'm noticing that when it starts with a conjunction, then the independent clause comes second. But when the conjunction's in the middle of the sentence, the independent clause comes first. Do you see that pattern? Do you see how it's alternating? So hopefully that can help you finish this page. So what I want you to do is go ahead and pause the video at this point, try to finish this page, and then unpause the video when you turn it over to the other side. Okay, welcome back. You should be done with this page if you're starting the video again. Let's turn our paper over to this side. This side is talking about about correlative conjunctions, which is our concept for today. And I want you to go ahead and highlight at the top in the helper box. So we always look in the helper box and we always look to read this and what it talks about. And it talks about them working in pairs, talks about what they're called, talks about what they connect. But here's the list, and we want to highlight this, of our correlative conjunctions that we're focused on this week. Okay? And then down here, they're going to give you examples of how to use them correctly. So if you're not sure how to use them, you can look here. When I look at these, I have to think about what the sentence is saying to try to figure out what to choose. So for example, let's look at this first one. It says, write the correlative conjunction that correctly completes each sentence. Blank tourists, blank residents were allowed on the beach during the storm. Okay, so let's think about what this sentence is saying. Both tourists and residents were allowed on the beach during the storm. Well, I'm just thinking about that. I don't know, because it's a storm. Would they want tourists and residents on the beach? Probably not. So I don't know that I want to say both and. Either tourist or, no, that doesn't make sense. What about neither and nor? Like not allowing someone on the beach. Neither tourists nor residents were allowed on the beach during the storm. It makes sense because they don't want them there during the storm. So neither nor, so neither tourists nor residents were allowed on the beach during the storm. Let's do the next one. The Pea Island, that's a funny one. Pea, you know Mrs. Shaver would be making a joke about that. The Pea Island surfmen rescued blank the baby, blank the rest of the crew. Okay, so they rescued both of these things. Oh, maybe both and. Oh, or we could also use this, so it says the Pea Island surfmen rescued both the baby and the rest of the crew. Or we could say the Pea Island surfmen rescued not only the baby, but also the rest of the crew. So either one of those I think actually could be correct. I'm going to do not only because it's just more fun. I don't know. Not only the baby, but also the rest of the crew. Okay? So go through here, see if, actually no, let's finish this together. All right, number 3, blank, we should watch the documentary, blank, we should watch the book to learn more about Pea Island surfmen. Not only we should know, both we should know. Either we should watch the documentary or we should read the book. Oh, so they're giving us a choice, watching the documentary or reading the book. So I know or needs to go here. So let's pick one of the ones that goes with or. Either we should watch the documentary or we should read the book, because now we're giving choices, either or. Let's look at number 4. It was up to the captain, blank the surfmen attempted the rescue, blank they waited out in the storm. It was up to the captain, both the surfmen attempted the rescue and they waited out the storm. It was up to the captain whether the surfmen attempted the rescue or they waited out the storm. Oh, I think it might be that one because the captain's the one who's deciding. It was up to the captain whether the surfmen attempted the rescue or they waited out the storm. It makes sense. Okay, let's go to the next one. Blank improved navigational devices, blank better communication system have decreased the number of shipwrecks. So what I see is this device and this device have both decreased or took down the number of shipwrecks. Both improved navigational devices and better communication systems have, oh, that's it. I hear it. Sounds good. So both improved navigational devices and better communication systems have decreased the number of shipwrecks. Okay, so your job right now is to do a little independent practice. So I'm going to give you a sheet that's very similar to this, and I want you to work on it and do it independently, okay?